the neighborhood problem. Clara usually avoided Mrs. Harris, her new neighbor. Mrs. Harris had complained that Clara's volleyball had smashed her prize gardenias when it sailed over the fence. She also grumbled about Clara's music being too loud. In general, Clara thought Mrs. Harris was a little grumpy. Nevertheless, when Clara saw Mrs. Harris sitting on her stoop with her head in her hands, she was worried that something was wrong. Clara felt confident that at least this time it wasn't her fault, so she cautiously approached her neighbor. "Can you believe it?" Mrs. Harris exclaimed. "They are shutting down the animal shelter. There isn't enough money to keep it running since the county budget was cut." Clara was shocked. First, she didn't know that Mrs. Harris loved animals. Second, she was surprised that her neighbor appreciated the value of the animal shelter. Clara knew the shelter served an important function because it's where her family found and adopted their dog Pete. "Our small town needs the animal shelter because it's the only one we have," Clara said. "Who will care for all the homeless animals now?" Mrs. Harris nodded in agreement, and the two neighbors sat on the step discussing the perplexing problem. Clara soon agreed to help Mrs. Harris reach out to the neighbors. That night, Clara and her mom sent an email to their online neighborhood group. Clara thoroughly explained the problem, and she asked if people were willing to organize a fundraiser to raise money for the animal shelter. The next morning, Clara and her mom had received more than 25 emails. Everyone wanted to offer assistance by either donating time or money. Overjoyed, Clara ran next door to tell Mrs. Harris, who cheered and gave Clara a high five. Clara couldn't believe it. Not only was she going to try to help animals by saving the shelter, she was going to become friends with Mrs. Harris in the process. "Let's get to work," they said together.